I'm Dan Alvarez, and welcome to KeepOurRedskins.com. And I am joined here by Tony Henson. And Tony, thanks for joining us tonight.
I'm glad that I could get on with you guys and help your cause.
Let everybody know the Anderson community in just a little bit about yourself and where you're living, a little bit about your background.
Okay, well, I live in central Illinois, and the way that I got introduced to this whole movement is at the University of Illinois. We are the Fighting Illini, and for decades we had a great tradition with Chief Illinois coming out at halftime and really being the inspiration for the university, and that started in 1926. And then the Eradication movement showed up in 1989. A lady named Charlene Teeters was going to the University of Illinois, and she is from an Indian tribe in Washington State. And she started protesting, and it was really that whole thing that started the national movement, because she said that she came to Illinois specifically that if she could bring down Chief Illinois, then she could get rid of all of them.
Wow.
And this damaging movement has been going across the nation into communities just like yours, and they just leave the schools totally devastated. So I've been on a mission for the past, I'm moving into my fourth year, to get some new tradition at the University of Illinois that gets us back to our Native American identity. And I've made tremendous progress, and I think that we are pretty much on this threshold of doing something in a new and authentic manner that will get accepted at the U of I, and that's going to have national shockwaves. And then also, through this process, I thought I was fighting this battle by myself, but I came across the Native American Guardians Association and started talking to them, and we ended up bringing out about 38 Dakota Sioux from North Dakota, and we did a little powwow outside the stadium before homecoming game this past year, and it made front page stories for like 4 or 5 days in a row, so we definitely made our mark. But, I had solidified my relationship with NAGA to extend beyond just the Fighting Illini to the national cause, and they asked me to be on the board of directors, and I accepted, and so I am, in there with our other members, but taking this battle nationwide.
Well, that is just great that you're doing that for Illinois, and that is just some really good background. And one of the things that we wanted to know is why do you feel that they shouldn't, the high schools, why they shouldn't get rid of their Native American names and their symbols?
Well, as someone who's a quarter Cherokee, if you think about it, we're getting erased from history, and the respectful name and image, help keeps us relevant, in our modern society. And it's also an opportunity to educate people in different school districts about, Native American history and culture. So, really, from a Native American perspective, and you've probably heard all of the polls, that the overwhelming majority of Native Americans, support, the names and images if it's done in a respectful way. I will say this, at NAGA, we don't support mascots, so we don't, support any, type of dressing up like a Native American and parading around the sidelines and that type of thing. We're fully on board with the other side on that. But as far as a respectful name and image, it's honoring. It truly is honoring to Native Americans.
And have you seen the Anderson Redskin? Have you seen that and know a little bit about what's going on here at Anderson?
Yes, I'm fully well engaged. I've seen the logo, and I told Sue that honestly, I see a lot of different logos, and the ones that are cartoonish, NAGA has no problem in telling these school districts you need to, change it to become more respectful and also more regionally accurate. A lot of the logos that you see, are with an Indian head with a war bonnet on or something like that. Whereas, like in your situation with the Redskins, your Native Americans were not Plains Indians. The Plains Indians wore the headdresses and so forth, but the Woodslands Indians, think Last of the Mohicans, that type of thing, they didn't wear that. So actually, your logo is regionally correct, and there's nothing cartoonish about it. I think it's probably one of the most respectful Native American logos that I've seen. So I think you guys are doing it right. Now, the opposition group that's coming in against you, the National Congress of the American Indian, I've seen their logo, and they're based out of Washington, D.C., and those Indians in that area were Woodslands Indians, yet they use a logo of a Plains Indian, so theirs is not regionally accurate. And also, if you take a look at it, it's about as cartoonish looking as you can get. And these people want to render judgment upon Anderson when actually they are the ones that I would insist they need to change their logo to become more respectful like Anderson and also more regionally accurate like Anderson.
That is just some great stuff, because I don't think a lot of people, that's the one thing that we've been trying to tell is we want the community and everybody to be educated. And I don't think that's, we were trying to put that across to the board, and it's great to hear that from you, because I'm not sure a lot of people understand this. And it's a great way for the board and anybody else to hear exactly, from a Native American, and this is exactly what we want. We really appreciate you kind of putting this forward to us. And, the one thing is, we're here at Anderson is very proud of the Redskin name. And what is it about the Redskin name that makes you proud?
Well, my skin is red. When I show up, at your board meeting, it'll be apparent. So I'm not ashamed of it. I think any race should be proud of who they are. And if you're a Native American, you're a Redskin, and it's something to be proud of. So I'm proud of my Native American heritage. And whether it's the Indians, the Braves, the Warriors, the Redskins, it just conveys something to the public that you are a warrior, that you're respectful, that you're you take pride in that association. It's not something that's a negative. It's something that's a positive, and that should be embraced, not eradicated.
Well, Tony, I really, really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here in a week or so. And we really appreciate you taking the time to not only educate myself, but educate the people out there that weren't real sure about Native Americans. And we really, again, like we said, we appreciate your time tonight.
Well, I appreciate it, and it will be an honor to show up and support you guys.
All right, Tony. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
You too, thanks.
Hey, Tony, thanks, man. I appreciate it, man. That was some really, 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 really good stuff, man. That's phenomenal.
I could go on for hours, but
and if you got anything else you want to say, I can. I mean, it's just, I didn't know how much time you had, and if there's any other stories that you've got that you want to talk, I've still got my recorder running, so I can cut some of this stuff out. But if there's anything else that you can think of that you
well, just the main thing is that the opponents are a well-organized machine that they've been organized for some 40 years, and they are activists, so they get all of the attention from the mainstream media, and so this perception has come across the nation from people that aren't informed that they just assume that Native Americans are appalled by anything and everything Native American in sports. And what I have to, question is, for decades, there was never any issue, so why all of a sudden is this hysteria about Native Americans and the names and images in sports when it never was? Well, the answer is that it's made up by very far left-wing activists who have vengeance on their mind. And the majority of Native Americans do not feel this way. I would say, other than the activists, there is no Native American that would dream of showing up at your doorstep and causing all of this havoc and mayhem and calling people racist and so forth. That is not the Indian way. Most, if not the overwhelming majority of Native Americans have assimilated into society. They don't hold this vengeance type of agenda. They are patriotic Americans. They serve in the military. They love America. And this damaging movement they are the ones that are stereotyping Native Americans as these, whining, thin-skinned malcontents who are so thin-skinned and that, that they would go to communities and do this type of thing. It's a shameful, insulting stereotype of Native Americans, and it needs to stop, and that's why the Native American Guardians Association was formed. We have to become activists because we represent the mainstream of Native American people and who are not activists and who do not share this viewpoint. So because most Native Americans live their daily lives and they don't, they're trying to feed their families and do, whatever normal people do, and they don't go around, causing havoc. And so it's just shameful that these people show up to communities and, they find like a weak-willed, board that will, go along with them, and they will absolutely, waste their time, just like you guys dealt with this back in 2003, and it was a limit. That should have put an end to it, but they keep coming back, and they play a game of double, triple, quadruple jeopardy. Could you imagine, having a prosecutor who is allowed to just keep, bringing a case until he gets the jury that he wants.
Exactly.
And then it's outrageous, and the people on your board should know better than this. But it doesn't sound like truth matters anything at all to them whatsoever. So it sounds like you've got a very far left board, and they have waited patiently to pounce upon it, and now Anderson's going to be left to pick up the pieces if this doesn't stop.
Yeah, I agree. And what would you? What do you say? Like right now, if you were going to say something, I'll say that because I know you're going to be there hopefully next week. And I don't want to ruin your thunder on that. But just here in this community, we're very proud of the Anderson Redskins, and we're trying to tell everybody that we want to educate. We want people to understand about the Native Americans, and I think that's the point that we're trying to get across. And hopefully with like yourself and some other Native Americans that I've talked to, that maybe this will sink in, and maybe this video that we're doing and these interviews, maybe something will sink in and let them understand, because I don't feel like they've talked to enough Native Americans.
I'm sure they haven't, and it is true that there are many tribal leaders and national Native American organizations that side with this, but taken in the context of the whole, they represent we're very less than 1% of the Native American population. So the other 99.999% of Native Americans who are not far left activists, that are just, mainstream Native Americans, by some 90% margin, have no problem with these names and images, and most even embrace them. If you go to any reservation, guess what you're going to see? You're going to see Native American tribal members walking around with the Redskins and the Indians. You name it. They love it. They love it. So it's just a preposterous sham movement that is just, based upon nothing but vengeance. And decolonization is a big, tenet of what they believe. So
I agree, Tony. And again, I really appreciate your time. This is some great information, and I'll definitely keep in touch, and hopefully I'll see you here Monday.